when we're talking about restorative justice, the first relationship that you have is the relationship with yourself. So if you're not doing the things that are going to take care of you as a person moving through the world, you're not going to be very effective at doing the things that you want to see happen in the world. So, whether it is with climate justice, whether it is with, men struggling or wrestling with like the world of misogyny and patriarchy, straight folks dealing with, the hetero patriarchy, white folks dealing with white supremacy, right? Like, we are all people who are trapped in these systems, and you don't have to get stuck in paralysis at the enormity of the problem. You don't have to get stuck in the guilt of the ways that you contribute to the problem. What are the things that you're going to do to undo them? What are the things that you're going to do to continue to take care of yourself and live in your values as much as possible? And so I'm curious for you, you're not Thanos, you're not going to snap your fingers. And I imagine you're not out on, genocide of all half of humans, or maybe just like the global north and global west to like in efforts to like solve the climate crisis. What are some of the things that you have engaged in? What are some of the things that you encourage other people to get into?
We'll definitely find a community that aligns with like what you're passionate about, because I think people often think that like, oh, I have to like quit my job in corporate America and go like get a climate related job or a sustainability related job or renewable energy related job. And that's not necessarily the case, right? Like dealing with addressing climate change infiltrates all aspects of our lives. So if you are passionate about marketing, if you are in PR, right? Like how can you use that and, have some good PR for the environment? How can you, if you're an artist, if you're a creative, how can you incorporate that into your work? And it's a lot of like how I educate my students, right? Like you don't have to, everything doesn't have to be focused specifically on something that is like related to the earth, because like our very existence is the earth. Right? Our human communities are the earth. And so, find things that you are passionate about, find other people who are also, passionate about those things and are within the same, sectors as you, or have the same hobbies or skill sets as you do. And, how can you apply that to a more sustainable world? I also like engage people in like looking up solutions, right? Like, what we know is that the solutions are there. We have them. This is not, we don't have to wait until certain technology is developed. We don't have to, wait on the billionaires of the world to figure out something to save us. The solutions are there. It's just a matter of funding. It's a matter of support. It's a matter of civic engagement and community engagement and like educating people on those things, and then making sure that we are implementing them. And then also just like take time to rest and be still and like be outside and connect with nature, because ultimately like it has, positive effects on our bodies, positive effects on our mental health, but like genuinely just being outside is, you're feeding that connection to the earth. And I think that like, as much as we can kind of divest from that grind culture of capitalism as well, and just like taking care of ourselves, that will also kind of open up our imaginations to be able to like radically imagine what we want to see and give us this like path that we can work towards.
Yeah, I really appreciate that first part of what you were talking about, where it's like you don't have to drop everything and like radically change your life, like quit your job, find a new thing. That might be for some people, right? That's not for most people. And even like the tactics that you talked about, like finding the places where it makes sense within the context of your life is really helpful and really important, right? Because the communities that people have, that's where you're going to be able to have the most impact, right? With people that you know. And when I think about, the intersection of doing this work within the context, like doing restorative justice work, right? Overnight, quitting your job and finding a position as a restorative justice coordinator, restorative justice facilitator, restorative justice community educator, right? Like that doesn't exist in so many spaces. And so, there might not be like a climate justice position for like the teachers at your school, right? But like as a teacher within the context of your school, what are the things that you're teaching your students? What are the conversations that you're having with your colleagues? What are the conversations that you're having about the vendors that your school is working with, right? What are the ways that you can have those conversations that will promote people thinking about these things a little bit more, right? Because as individuals, we don't necessarily have all the answers to these problems, and people in our communities have wisdom that we might not have that will help us get to solutions, or at least harm reductive steps that will, help preserve this planet for a little bit longer, make the conditions livable, safe and comfortable for life in general, but humans as we've existed for the last couple thousand years.